Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Max's Man Cave. I believe we are on episode 87, creeping our way to episode 100 and creeping our way also to 7,000 subscribers. I can't thank you guys enough. All the fans, subscribers, members, all of you guys, lurkers. We appreciate it, and we appreciate y'all coming to support and listening to us every Sunday or Friday. So, with all that being said, if you guys like the Max's Man Cave format, if you guys have been liking the live streams, but you don't know where to find them, you can make sure to go to the playlist on the Maxfield Von Priestley YouTube channel, and there will be the Max's Man Cave playlist. There will be a Comic Shop Conversations playlist, and it has all of our back catalog of all of the previous episodes that you guys may have missed or may want to go rewatch. I basically unlist them from the channel so that you guys can find them in the playlist, but they may not be listed on the main live stream uploads. So just to reiterate, just because some people may have a question about that, just wanted to give you guys a heads up. What other housekeeping do we have to do? Josh and Drew are working on a comic book right now that is going to be releasing. They've got the preview edition coming out at Chicago Fan Expo. Is that the one, Drew?
Yeah, that's right. Chicago Fan Expo and Terrificon. So this is being published through Big IV Comics. Ivan, who runs the company with his wife, they're going to be at Terrificon in Connecticut next weekend selling copies, and I'll be in Chicago Fan Expo selling copies of it. So you have two opportunities to get this in person.
Heck yeah. And that'll be sweet. And all the links to Drew's comic are below. And you can also find Aaron's comic, his sign-up link down below in the description as well. So make sure to go check those out. But without further ado, I think that's adieu. My little fedora. I need a little fedora. Let's get right into the news. First things first.
Fuck was that?
Have you never heard Keemstar say that?
No, I wasn't expecting
it. It's very derpy. It's super derpy. So, or tismy, whichever one feels better for you. But so yeah, first things first, right off the bat, let's get right into Disney's D23. Whoa! Yeah, we need the air horns going on. Man, what? How could you possibly be more creatively bankrupt than D23 in 2024? My God. So we're just gonna run through these real quick and talk about what's going on at D23, what the big releases are for D23. Whoa! So it says, hot on the wheels of San Diego Comic-Con 2024 comes Disney's giant fan convention, which intends to reveal just as much news about the future of Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, Disney Animation, and the Disney parks as a traditional Comic-Con. Everyone from Kevin Feige to Pete Docter to Kathleen Kennedy and Mickey Mouse arrive for the weekend of festivities.
Who's
and there's
Pete
a lot
Docter?
I have no idea who Pete Docter is. Do you guys know? Yeah.
I have no clue.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Pete Docter. They got Pete Docter.
Guys, Bob Iger, Pete Docter. I mean, we can't miss. Says on Friday, Disney presented its big enterprise showcase, which featured long-awaited reveals and plenty of morsels for diehard fans. It was lots of sequels, a few original projects. Now, keep that in mind. When they say few, they mean like two. Out of everything that they mentioned, I think there are 2 original animated projects. And lots of promises that Disney will go big in 2025 and 2026. Things like an exclusive in-room footage of Marvel's Daredevil Born Again. Now, Josh, you actually sent us this, the kind of the shot from someone's phone from D23. What was your initial thoughts of the preview footage? I won't be able to play it here. I just don't want to risk having Disney step on my balls. So I'm just gonna, if you guys want to go watch it, it's out there on YouTube. But yeah, how did you feel about Marvel's Daredevil Born Again?
Look, I mean, all things considered, compared to what we've gotten from Disney, I would say it looks promising compared to what they put forward previously. Is it going to match Netflix? I think it's really going to be a matter of waiting to see what these new people that they brought in. So, like Chris Gore has mentioned it, recently that they're getting rid of all the woke people. But if you go back a couple of months, when they first ended the strikes, I talked about how they've had like these regime changes behind the scenes and they're getting quality people behind the camera. So that's been promising. But now that we're actually seeing footage, it looks solid. The action looks really good. They pulled the stunt coordinator from the Netflix Punisher film or shows. So you've got someone there that's going to deliver some really brutal stuff. It doesn't look too CGI weird wire worky like it did for Echo. It just looks intense. So we'll see.
No, that's awesome, man. And honestly, if there's one thing that I'm hopeful for with Daredevil Born Again, because they're basically just rehashing the storyline, it will be the stunt coordination and the action. That was one of the greatest things about the first Daredevil series from Netflix that came out not too long ago was the action, the stunt coordination, the fight scenes, but also the acting and the story really was well done. Like the writing for that show was actually really well done, surprisingly. So I don't know what the writing is going to be like for this for Marvel's Daredevil Born Again, but we do have Charlie. Shoot, I want to call him Charlie Hunnam. Charlie Cox. Thank you. We do have Charlie Cox coming back, and we do have Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin coming back. So that'll be sweet as well.
I mean, we can't really say anything about Vincent coming back because he's come back twice and both were disappointing. So,
he gets taken out by what's her name?
Hawkeye?
No, Hawkeye's daughter.
Echo?
He does get taken out by Echo too. Yeah. Oh no. They made him look like such a wimp. Oh, yeah. So that was one exclusive from D23. The next one, an eye-popping sizzle reel of the recently completed Tron Ares. Drew, did you ever see the first Tron?
Are you suggesting I'm old? Then yes, I have. Yes, I have. I have seen it. I have played the original arcade Tron. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I saw the sequel that came out. It was all right. It wasn't bad. It was cool.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, of all the films, this huge smorgasbord of sequels, this is the one film I'm actually kind of looking forward to. This is the one I kind of want to see because they got.
Wow.
I mean, not just that. Well, Trent Reznor coming on board for the music, so that's gonna be pretty badass. You got Jared Leto coming on. Looks like it's the bad guy. So yeah, this could be fun. I have like most of the like we mentioned it before we started. Or when we started, there's a lot of sequels here. Most of them look like redundant crap, but this one looks like it could be fun. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and chat, one thing that you guys will notice as Josh and Drew and I go through this, it's sequel city, baby. I mean, it is sequel, prequel, rehash, revamp, reimagining. It is the creative bankruptcy of a once great industry or once great like production company that is just completely fallen off. I don't know if it's because they think that these are safe bets because it comes with an original or it comes with an IP that can't fail. And so, hey, it's Toy Story. So people will just automatically go see it. Doesn't matter who it is. They'll just go see it. So they don't want to have to lose money or it's not as big of a risk. I don't know. Or they just legitimately don't have the creative integrity to make something new. I don't know.
I mean, creative integrity maybe, but it's not even just Disney. It's all studios right now. They are only going with things that they feel are a surefire bet. But to play devil's advocate, it's because people aren't going to see movies. Like we had really good films that came out last year that were original films. Nobody saw them. Nobody talked about them. They just kind of went by the wayside and like floundered because people are only going to the movie theater. When COVID happened, we trained all these people of like, why go to the theater? You can get it at home. It's much cheaper. And then that's our reality now. People aren't going to see it. But the same people that aren't going to see this are complaining that we're not getting anything original. Like, sorry, if you want to see something original in theaters, you got to put your butts in the seats.
Oh, absolutely. I still, to this day, one of the most upsetting things was seeing that Robert Eggers' Northman did so terribly, like 20 million or something, like
Yeah.
barely even. Like, I mean, it was pathetic.
You should have done more.
Pulled at the box office.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember seeing it in theater, and I was disappointed by how little it made. It should have made more. But I think it was a victim of COVID. I think it came out like right after the COVID lockdowns loosened up. Maybe I'll blame that.
I honestly blame the MCU. But sorry, go ahead, Josh.
I mean, but we've got more recent things that did terrible. You know, like Iron Claw only did 45 million. The Covenant only did 21 million. Like, these were all excellent films that nobody saw.
I do notice that horror films seem to be doing okay in the theaters because you get like horny teenagers that are going to see, you know, these horror movies, you know, but you got that. But no, I think I blame the MCU, man. I think that one of the big parts about, like, it was a perfect storm because you've got, you know, you had the peak of the MCU where people are going to see it in droves. It's making billions of dollars for Endgame, and it's a roller coaster. It's like an event, right? It's not just it's not a theater experience anymore. It's like a life experience. So you go with all these people and blah blah. But then COVID happened, and then now people are just thinking, well, if it's not an experience, if I'm not going for the experience, if I'm not going for the $20 ticket plus the $20 bucket of popcorn and the $15 drink and the reclinable heated chairs, why am I going? And so I think that's kind of where we're at now. But that is just merely a symptom of a much larger, bigger problem, which is a lot of other things. So we've also got a new trailer for Moana 2, which sheds a bit more light on the story. Okay. Behind the scenes look at Andor season 2. I'm surprised that they are making Andor because I for a lot of Star Wars fans, I know that, well, for a lot of fans that like the show The Acolyte, they didn't like Andor. Whereas the people who like Andor tend to not like The Acolyte. You know what I mean? Two different sides of Star Wars fandom.
Yeah. I mean, generally speaking, aside from Mandalorian season 1 and 2, the one Star Wars show or project, Disney project, that gets praised appears to be Andor. So,
yeah. But hey, they've also got Mandalorian and Grogu. I can't believe they're actually going to make a movie. Well, yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, oh my God. I'm mad because I may or may not have done that clap recently when you sent me something.
No. You did this one. This is like this.
Oh no, it was more like this.
Oh, it's okay. All right. See, I thought you were like gay clapping where the palms are together, you know?
Oh no, I didn't do the Hercules. It wasn't that Hercules. It wasn't that.
Now, when you opened your original art, was it the Tizami, like the very quick and rapid?
I kept things straight. I just went,
yeah. You were like, hell yeah.
Let me go post this. We go post this on the IG.
Yeah, let me go show off a bit.
Right.
Yeah, no, flex on them. You got to flex on them. None of this. Yay. But yeah, no, the Mando and Grogu movie, which, hey,
why?
I know, right? What, like, why they're still heaping off of that success? At least trying to. We didn't see any Rey. So that's a possibility too, though. They want to make the Rey movie. A first look at Toy Story 5.
I never saw part 4. All I know is for me, it ended with part 3. That's where it all ended. And why?
Rightfully so.
Another film. Why?
All of these can just be summed up as to why. Which deal with technology, advanced toys, and pit Woody against 50 malfunctioning Buzz figures. Okay.
That sounds like a TV episode. Sounds like a 22 minute episode.
Yep, sounds about right. Then we get more updates. Disney is for real doing a Villains Land. So that's part of their parks. Robert Downey Jr. returns as Iron Man. We knew this from San Diego. Disney's live action Snow White remake trailer is still heavy on the animation. Yeah, I mean,
dude,
I mean, it's just so funny seeing just how they completely changed up everything about that damn movie with the 7 dwarfs. They actually are 7 dwarfs now, and not just 7 vagrants.
Well, the vagrants will still be in the film, surprisingly. So I did some more research about it. So the dwarves, the CGI dwarves, are going to be one thing, but then they're also going to have this like group of bandits or something, and that's the weirdos that are like the DEI diverse cast of like miscreants that are walking through the field. So you're going to actually have both. You're going to have the terrifying nightmare fuel dwarves with the DEI hire cast and crew. It's going to be a wild film. But
I just look, I would like to applaud Disney for hiring a lead actress with Down syndrome. That's, kudos to them. I mean, because if you look, I mean, it's very clear she's got some downs going on when you look at that trailer. And no living, breathing human being, animal, creature, ghost, spirit, poltergeist would ever think that Snow White is harder than Gal Gadot's evil queen.
No. Yeah, it is. That's pretty wild that is the case. Let me go ahead and share this. So this is the actual teaser trailer. I won't play a lot of it, or maybe I'll just show some screenshots. But I read a comment that was actually kind of interesting, and I think it was on the I think it was on the Twatter, on the old twat. And someone had said she totally is miscast. She doesn't belong there. Blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't because of her skin color or any of that. It was someone had said her Snow White is supposed to be pure of heart, pure of spirit, pure as the driven snow. Her soul is supposed to be someone that is innocent and sweet and kind and loving and compassionate. And Rachel Ziegler is not that person, nor does she know how to act as that person. And so the comment basically was something to the effect of, you can see through her soul that she is not the right cast here. She is arrogant. She is condescending. Her nature is not that of Snow White, and she can't act her way out of that. So I thought that was kind of an interesting comment. And I was like, wow. Because when I watched the trailer, I go, yeah, you can't see past that facade, that narcissistic, egotistical facade that she has. So I mean, listen, you got a lot of guys on YouTube that are like, clamoring about Snow White. I'm never gonna see this movie. This movie isn't for me. I'm not one of the guys that's gonna be saying like Snow White was my favorite character as a kid. Like, no, I'm a grown man. I'm not. This movie is not made for me, clearly. But we can still comment on it because it's still part of pop culture. I know your boy Zach has been just has a rage boner for all of these guys who are commenting on Snow White, and it's like
all day today. It's just been like, oh my God.
he like seriously has an issue. Like, he needs to let this stuff go. He has a problem when it comes to like, because he's completely calling out exactly what he does, and that's what's so infuriating about it. Is he's like, why is everyone like, these what does he call them, party clowns, or like birthday party clowns, have been calling out these things that aren't made for them? And it's like, dude, how long have comic books been claiming they're not made for you, right? So he's completely off the path. I don't know what he's been doing, but I actually unsubscribed to him because I can't take it anymore.
You're one of the 6,000 people.
Yeah, rightfully so. I mean, he's just purging his own channel, I guess. So, but yeah, so this is the Snow White trailer with plenty of CGI dwarves and goofy looking
The
Dance
dwarves look
moves.
the dwarves look really weird, really bad. What I will say is I think the sets look really good. I think the cinematography looks good. The color grading looks good. You tell me that does not look like Down syndrome. Tell me that does not look like
It's the eyes. The eyes are
Yeah.
over here. They're all the way on the side.
like I half expect her to like just have randomly like pop out a Capri Sun and then like a grilled cheese sandwich.
Hey, I would die. I would actually really love a Capri Sun and a grilled cheese
Yeah,
sandwich. I don't
because
know what that's it.
people with Down syndrome have life figured. Those are the happiest people in this world. Tell me, have you ever met someone with Down syndrome that was having a bad day? Like, no, they're having the best fucking time.
I love that Shane Gillis quote where
Right.
he's like, "Man, y'all think that they're having like y'all feel sorry for them. They're like the happiest people ever. Like they're having the best time." So, but yeah, no, this is oof, this is a bad look. This is a bad look.
It looks weird. She
Oh.
looks weird there.
Would you say that it looks weird?
Weird.
Weird. Weird.
What I
Weird.
will give her credit for is I've never heard her sing, and her singing is actually quite good.
I guarantee you that's why she got the role.
Oh, 100%.
Because like
Do
her
you-
singing, yeah.
Do you think this is gonna do better than Little Mermaid?
What did Little Mermaid do?
I don't know. I gotta look it up.
Well, this already probably has a point for it because it doesn't have Aquafina going whack chicka whack whack whack.
Scuttlebutt.
Little Mermaid did 569 million.
569 million. Okay. So its budget was like what? 250 or something? I don't know. I thought its budget was high.
But for this, I mean, the budget for this one after the reshoots,
Ooh,
holy
with all
crap!
the reshoots, yeah. Oh man, I don't know. I'm such a bad judge of budgets. Drew, what do you think? You think this is going to do better than 560 million or whatever it was?
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be about just on par, if not a little less. I really think that, and we saw look, the CGI dwarves don't look good. They look pretty damn cheap. It just it speaks of cheap and reeks of cheap. I love Gal Gadot, but she can't carry. I don't know if she can carry this movie, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really, in this whole like DEI landscape, it's really strange that they didn't just cast little people to play the dwarfs. Like if you want them to look more like the dwarfs, you can do like actual makeup to them. Like you can actually,
dude,
and it
Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. They look
Yeah.
the dwarves and the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings look amazing. Like they look fantastic. I think. Because what they did is they put prosthetic hands on them. They made the hands bigger and fatter. They put prosthetic like feet, like boots, to make them even bigger. The prosthetic noses and the beards and everything. They made them look like dwarves. They look fantastic. But no.
Now, what about Rings of Power dwarves?
Oof. Amazon, even in their infinite wisdom and the money that they spent on that, still can't make it look good, unfortunately. Durin, or is it Durin? No. Yeah, I guess I think no, it is Durin. I think Durin looks okay, but I mean nothing compared to the original Jackson film. So yeah, that's Snow White. Josh, do you think it'll do better than 550?
I don't know. I think it's gonna depend on if the movie itself is actually halfway decent. So, it doesn't have the same controversy going into it that Little Mermaid had, where half the people were already checked out because black actress, all that stuff. But and I think enough time has passed since Zegler was just being outrageous in interviews that normal audiences, like normies, aren't going to remember.
And she's been pretty quiet for her sake.
Well,
I'm sure they shut that down.
Yeah.
Like,
hey,
if I were a studio executive, I would be telling actors, "You're just a fucking actor. We pay you to say lines. We don't pay you to talk. So if you get out there and act a fool, we'll end your career." And that's how it
Yeah.
used to be back in the day. But
Yeah, it just,
Yeah.
you just reminded me of the scene. I don't know if you ever watched it, Max, a little before your time. It's a movie called Network, came out in the 1970s. Is a great movie, one of the greatest of all time. There's a great scene where Ned Beatty is talking to, I think is Peter Finch, David, and across a huge boardroom table, he's like, "You have messed with powers you do not understand today." And it's a great scene. It very much kind of reflects what I'm sure the talking to Rachel Ziegler got. "You are messing with powers you do not understand here."
As an actor, you have to recognize you are the face of that film, and whatever you say is going to be plastered all over YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and all this stuff. And that they are not meant, they are meant to, like you said, Josh, they're meant to read lines, they're meant to promote the film, and they are another part of the filmmaking process. They are a tool within the machine, just as the editor, just as the cinematographer, just as the producer, the director, the actor. They all have a part to play, and the actors are not there to lecture other people on how to live during a promotional, like, interview for a movie or something. So yeah, I miss the days when actors knew their character and were able to speak on it intelligently.
To quote a Disney movie of some other Disney actors, "Smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave."
Smile and wave. There you go. So that is Snow White. Yeah, I think we may see this later, but the only maybe reaction that I think that we may get that might like bump this up into promoting it even more is if little people start to come out in mass and start saying, "Yo, y'all took a lot of these roles from us. Like, this is
Mhm.
our opportunity to be in this film, and Disney completely canked our opportunity to do that." When they're all about inclusiveness and representation. Bro, you had the perfect opportunity to represent little people, and you said, "Nah, we'll CGI it." So, like, Disney and all their, compassion and understanding, nah, they're just gonna get rid of those jobs. So if those individuals come out and are very forthcoming and are very vocal about that, I think the movie will then have like a lot more, of course, what do you call it? Promotion. So we then have the live action Stitch.
Stitch looks creepy. Stitch looks flipping creepy in that
You don't like
trailer.
him?
I thought he looked fine. He's supposed to look a little weird.
Yeah, look at him.
Like he's still cute in his own way.
I think he looks fine.
Look at the little guy. Oh.
Look at that little guy. He looks good.
He looks like one of the monsters from Galaxy Quest on the planet. That's what he looks like. Just
Look at that.
Yeah, but when he tucks those
Yeah.
ears down, yeah. Look, go a little bit further.
And then when he sits down,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
look at that little guy.
so sweet.
Yeah,
I
okay.
like
If
Lilo
you,
and Stitch. Again, it's Disney.
but in
But-
in live action,
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, story wise, that story is good enough that you just have to go in, don't really change anything, and you're good.
yeah.
Like this is you can't possibly fuck this up. So just
Oh,
please don't.
they'll find a way.
No, I know.
Don't say that. They will find a way. Remember the controversy that surrounded this because they hired someone who wasn't dark enough. Like, come on, you give me a
Yeah.
effing break, man. Because they're fine. And then the actress actually stepped down. They bullied her out of the role because they were like, "You're too light skinned, bitch." And she's like, "Oh, I guess I don't want to underrepresent marginalized people of Hawaiian culture." And so she stepped down from the role. Like, Disney's such a fucking brain rotted company with a bunch of brain rotted fans. Which makes me think like all of these things I think are going to do well because you have Disney adults who, regardless of better judgment, will just go see this because they're Disney adults.
So,
I mean, am I wrong or
no, you're right. You're right. Did you happen to see that news story about the guy, like grown ass man, probably in his 40s, who's gone to Disneyland every single day without missing a day for like 1,400 and something days in a row?
Stop,
I
dude.
swear to God. I swear to God. Hold,
That's
like,
over 3 years.
dude, the moment you see this person interacting with Disney staff, like red flags across the board. Like, don't let your
Ooh.
children near him.
Ooh. If you
I'm
can,
gonna see if I can find it.
I was gonna say, find it, and Drew and I will continue to
Yeah.
go over some of these announcements. So while Josh is looking that up, we've got Incredibles 3.
I never saw the second one. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't want to see the second
Yeah.
one. It began and ended with the first one.
Yep. Yeah, Incredibles 1 is I'd say almost perfect movie. I think it's fantastic. No pun intended to the Fantastic Four, but like I don't know. This doesn't even need a Incredibles 3. That's pathetic.
No.
Even more pathetic is Disney or Toy Story 5. I thought it was too much when they did 3,
Yeah.
but now we're on 5.
It just reeks of desperation because part 4 came out not too long ago, from what I
Yeah.
recall. So
Oh, and then remember they had Lightyear.
yeah.
And Lightyear didn't do
Oh, that's right. Oh
Yeah.
my word. So are Tim Allen and Tom Hanks coming back?
That would be great. I don't know. Didn't Tim Allen get canceled? Didn't they not want him for the Lightyear story?
Yeah, from what I recall, just ABC and Disney, yeah, they cut ties with him because he said he didn't think Trump was Hitler, and they canceled him. Yeah.
Oh my god. According to director Andrew Stanton, Woody, Buzz, and the gang will be fighting to stop their new child from becoming an iPad kid. Jeez.
It's showing that Tim Allen is cast. So
Well, that's good. That's good
Yeah.
news.
it could be contractual. And they could also just choose that they're not going to publicly discuss Tim Allen.
Interesting. I was wondering because like Andy went off to college, right? In Toy Story 3.
I believe so.
So like maybe Toy Story 4, he finds a girl, like a girlfriend, and then Toy Story 5, maybe they have to deal with the girlfriend's toys, and they're finding those toys, and they're like, "What the hell is this
Well,
thing? It
It is
vibrates."
Disney. It is Disney now, so I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, there you go. Frozen 3. Noticing a pattern, Zootopia 2.
I
More
mean,
Star Wars.
what I will say again, if I were the Disney executive, if I were running Disney and we had the shit year that we've had the past like 4 years,
Yeah.
I would 100% be doing a Toy Story 5, a Frozen 3. I mean, it's
No,
the
no, no.
stuff that's actually making them money. I'd be like, okay, we need to fix some things.
What's making them money is the fact that they're doing animation. Inside Out made a crap ton of money. So they're probably trying to stick with the animation stuff format, live action stuff, because they're like, okay, maybe that'll stick us, give us some good money. But like for the most part, Star Wars and Marvel is not making them money anymore. It's just not. So their best bet is animation. And it's also their safest bet. So yeah.
Yeah, the live action
Star
remakes
Wars.
the live action remakes are really turning into more of a gamble now. And
Yeah.
I think Lilo and Stitch, that's going to be the next big one. So it looks like I'm assuming that's going to be a live action, and Lilo and Stitch is going to be the only animated thing in the film. I guess I don't know how that's.
I mean, you got the other aliens that are going to pop up that they'll be the.
Okay, I never
Yeah.
saw it. I'm sorry, I'm just guessing.
It's
You got
actually
the
a
big bulky guy.
Yeah, it's actually a really, really good movie about family,
Mm.
and also found family. So
Oh, Hana means family.
Yeah.
So
I thought you're gonna do the Stitch voice, but
Hana. So you've got Star Wars Skeleton Crew. I'm not a Star Wars guy. If it's not Warhammer, it's not for me. So cool.
I thought you liked Space Troopers, or is it
Space
Starship
or
Trooper Marines.
Colonial Space Marines? Yeah. Space Colonial Marines? Sure.
Oh, speaking of that, speaking of
You get it.
Colonial Marines, Space Marines, the Starship Troopers cast will be at New York Comic Con this year. So that's a win.
Oh, look at that.
Who's that actor?
Yeah, I
Is that
wish.
Law?
That's Jude Law. Jude Law. You can't come on. Look at that receding hairline. He said that receding hairline since 2000.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Said
He
that
still
was
looks
his
good,
hairline. Yeah, since he was like 20.
I wish Aaron were here to talk a little bit more about this because, well, I know he's kind of off of Star Wars. He's totally done, but I don't really know anything about it. All I know is that Andor will be having a second season, and I'm actually maybe hopeful that could, because the writing in that was actually pretty freaking sweet. So.
And I'm willing to give that a shot because I'm a Jude Law fan. He is a great actor, and
Right.
I'm guaranteed. And Josh and I think you will agree, he was the underutilized and one of the best parts of the Captain Marvel film, if not the best part.
Yep.
And
Oh yeah, because you guys had to watch that. Ugh. Now are we gonna have to watch Agatha all along?
no, I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
I mean, we all know I'm gonna end up watching it, but well, we're blowing through more stuff. We're blowing through
more characters, more shows,
like
more
colon blow.
No, the only thing I was gonna say is just for Fantastic Four, I loved the 60s look. And I know everyone's shitting on Johnny Storm's costume, but the overall aesthetic and look.
I haven't even seen the costumes. I don't even know what they look like.
It just shows him sitting down and he's in like it looks like it's straight out of the 60s.
Okay.
That's cool.
But a lot of people don't think it's cool. A lot of people are just crapping on it but everything about it looks very 60s.
Well, I mean, if they are going to honor Marvel's first family, why not do it in that time period, right?
In 1961, yeah.
So this is a clip that Josh, you just sent me, and I've never seen this before. So let's go ahead and react to this.
This just might be the happiest guy on earth.
Let's have some fun.
Because for more than 2,000 consecutive days, he's visited the
2,000. It's even more than what you said.
Oh my God.
happiest place on earth, Disneyland.
So how many days have you been here?
Today's 2004.
You're crazy.
Jeff writes doesn't...
The lady just goes, "You're crazy."
Yes. Oh my God.
Wait, that's not it. This is sad. This isn't funny. This is like, well, also think about how much money is he spent. So he gets the annual pass, sure.
Yep.
But then what if is he eating lunch there? Is
He's
he getting
gotta
fast
be.
passes? I mean, how and after your like first week, you've done everything. You've been on every ride. You've seen every exhibit at that point. What do you do from there?
How much is an annual pass?
Oh, now it's exponential.
Outrageous, yeah.
So let's try to do the math on this. I'm legitimately curious about how much money this guy's going on.
Yeah. Well, you do the math. We'll continue to watch why he probably shouldn't be around these mascots.
I mean, he's
Or these
skipping with
photos.
Pluto right now. Oh, maybe he's just walking. Never mind.
Josh, why are you hating on his happiness, man? He's just living his life. He's just living his best life, bro.
But since January 1st, 2012, the 44-year-old has been at...
Oh, no, the T goes.
Okay,
Wait,
so
44?
a yearly pass. A yearly pass. Legion of Comics was close in the comments. $1,600, $1,649 for an annual pass.
Wow.
So
well, I mean, that's what Comic-Con costs. San Diego Comic-Con for the full 5 days or something. That's like $1,500 right there, I think.
I couldn't even tell you. I've always gone working, so
he's,
never paid.
If you want to do
Josh
the
is
math,
like, I'm press.
as a conservative estimate, this guy's roughly spent over $8,000.
Oof.
Just on passes.
Just the passes.
Yeah, just on passes. Oh, maybe if it were like Warhammer World, but I can't justify that type of money for
That's a
Disneyland.
pretty depressing world.
Oh man.
Disneyland every single day. When he wraps up work checking in patients at a VA hospital, he hops into his car and makes the 20-minute drive to the theme park.
Well, no wonder nothing's getting done at the VA because he's at Disneyland the whole time. Gosh dang it. I've been asking for my VA benefits for years now. This guy's been holding up the line.
In Anaheim, California, where he's become a mini celebrity.
Are you Jeff?
I am.
Oh my gosh, you are an inspiration, sir.
That was so staged. And action. Are you Jeff? I was like, oh yeah.
His girlfriend Karen tags along a few times a week. And yup, their relationship began where else? At Disneyland.
Our first date was on day 660. It was a Monday night during the Halloween
During one of
parties.
Mickey's Halloween parties.
Every day, Jeff feels like a kid again, riding his favorite attractions, including the spinning teacups
Oh wow, that's cool.
Oh my gosh.
and the flying Dumbo ride.
What is your favorite thing to do when you come visit?
There's just so much magic.
I know, isn't it wonderful?
It is.
And with more than 2,000 visits under his belt, we just had to ask, how many more days can this go on?
The pixie dust is still affecting me and keeping the smile going.
Yeah, that pixie dust sure is it'll get you.
Oh my god.
Then we'll see what happens.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
$8,000.
Now, do you think he just goes because he's like, I just like the theme park? Or do you think he's like loves the company, loves everything they're doing, watches all the shows, does all like yeah, Legion. Yeah.
Like I don't know. I have well, they've passed away now. I had a friend that loved Disney, loved everything about Disney, worked for Disney for years, but their
wow.
love for Disney was old school Disney. And they had such an appreciation for it. They had an appreciation for the park, the history of the park, what it stood for. And they would probably go 30, 40, 50 times a year. But they never went solo. They always went with friends or groups of friends or whatever. And they kind of would act like a tour guide and help like share history. Like, hey, this used to be da-da-da. Do you know why this structure is here? It's to hide whatever, Runaway Mountain, Lookout Mountain, Thunder Mountain, whatever it's called. Like that was his whole thing. Like he loved kind of just embracing the history of the park. But it's not like he was going there every day.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, I'm so like, oh, you know, I can't wait to get on Dumbo. That's what she said.
Well, the other thing is like there are a lot of really historical, like cool historical elements about the Anaheim Disneyland. Even like the Walt Disney statue, you know, you see him kind of, or I think he's either pointing or he's got his hand down or something, but his fingers are like this, and all the Disney employees have to point like this. It was because he had a cigarette in his hand.
Statue's been torn down yet? I'm surprised.
Oh yeah, or vandalized, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just there's like even Club 33, which is in Anaheim. Like there are a lot of historical pieces, and arguably the best rides are Pirates of the Caribbean and Indiana Jones, both in Anaheim as well. So it's like there are some really cool aspects of the park, but to go every single day, whew. Well, let's kind of finish up a little bit of what else was announced. We got the Daredevil Born Again, Avatar 3, Freaky Friday 2, even freakier. Whoa.
So someone's dead set on a Lindsay comeback. I don't know.
Maybe. So here is one of the only original brand new titles. And I think it's Win or Lose and Hoppers. I think those are the two that are the like actual original ones. So, We do not need a prequel for Mufasa.
No, we do not.
Hey, they are actually going to release Ironheart. Wow. I'm
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah, I think the villain of that show, he came out and did an interview recently and said, "I'm playing the coolest villain ever." It's like, okay, great.
Evar.
Yeah.
Riri Williams, who created her own suit of Iron Man armor, she returns to the MCU in the TV series Ironheart, set to premiere in 2025. D23 attendees got to see. Oh, they actually got to see some unreleased footage of Riri. Oh, working on building herself a new suit, as well as a look at the villain Parker Robbins, the Hood. Huh.
Yeah, it was almost like a mini trailer. Like it looked better than what I thought it would have looked, but it wasn't exciting by any means.
Yeah.
It's a real quick little off subject. I saw the last thing for Percy Jackson. Now, this is a big question for you guys and for me. Like, so I never got on board the Percy Jackson bandwagon. I don't understand it. It really feels like it's a property that Disney keeps trying to push. They think there's a lot here, but it's just not taking. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's a book series, right? That was what it originated from?
Came out around the time it was the Harry Potter books. Remember that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I never got into it. I never saw the films. I never knew really what it was about. I thought it was like a mixture of what it was trying to be with like Harry Potter / Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you had this kid who I think, from what I recall, like he was like the son of Zeus, I believe.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's right.
I think he's the son of Poseidon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, no, Drew, I'm not really sure what Disney's trying to do, but they're trying to they're basically trying to do safe bets at this point. They have lost so much money that they are now just trying to say whatever property we have that we can just make another sequel or prequel of, like what made us a lot of money last year or in the past 5 years, let's just do that. Like we really do not want to do anything else. We don't want to touch anything else. Original animation, it costs way too much and we don't want to hedge our bets on that. So we're just going to do the safe stuff. But by doing that, you're just training people to not care about your product or just continue to eat the slop, of just creative bankruptcy. So
desperation is a stinky cologne.
Desperation. Absolutely. Now, I guess I will say this. Is there one thing that you guys are excited about? If you could choose one thing that you are going to say, this will be good, what would that be?
Tron Ares.
Wow. I did not expect that, but okay. All right. Josh?
I'm actually gonna go with Daredevil. They got a solid team behind the camera working there.
Okay.
So if they can, do their thing, I think it'll actually be promising. I think the thing you're gonna battle with that regardless is just comparisons to Netflix.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, because I genuinely think this. I think even if they manage to deliver a good season, a good show, good characters, good action, I think a lot of people are going to look at the slick look of how it's filmed versus the grittiness of Netflix, which is honestly just because of budget, and kind of compare. But I think they've got some good writers. They've got a good action coordinator, stunt coordinator. You can get some good stuff there.
Yeah. No, I can't argue with that. I mean, if you are going to bank off of the prior success of other shows and movies and characters like Daredevil, you are going to have fans that are just by nature of being fans of something, they're going to compare it to the thing that they've seen the thing they've seen before, even subconsciously. Like even if I come in with this with zero bias possible, subconsciously my brain is still going to go, oh, that's weird, that doesn't track with the last season, or this did it differently, or I like this better or worse, or so that's what it's got going for itself that may hurt it, like you said. So
Yep.
wow. So Tron and Daredevil. Well, there you have it. So next on the list, I've had this on my desktop for the past month now because this has just been so sad, and I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. But the recent Dungeons and Dragons making of an original, the newest book just got released, and it's like a hardcover, like, grand format or whatever. It's almost $100 on Amazon. Here, let me go ahead and pull it up. Actually, before we do that, Dylan Lindsay, dude, for $10, coming in hot with a 10. He says, I read Percy Jackson growing up, and it was a fantastic series. Sadly, the author has drank the DEI Kool-Aid hard. His later books definitely suffer, and it bleeds into the show with the casting. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Now, and I think that's tough, especially when you have a series that you love so much, and then you see this creep into it, and it becomes something that you never really knew and loved in the first place. So that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, no, from what I know, the people who did read it loved it, and I don't know how they felt about the films though. Yeah, but that's one thing that I will always love about Tolkien is that he made his works, and that's it. Like, there's not going to be any more Tolkien books. Like, he's the end all be all, Whereas a lot of these guys, like George R. R. Martin, are still writing, or they're still, screwing things up with their own franchise. So yeah. Well, Dylan, thank you so much for the 10, brother. Seriously, it means a ton that you would support the show. We always love seeing you here. And speaking of, we were just talking about Daredevil. Let's get some Daredevil in here to support this 10 huge big ones. Thank you again, Dylan.
I was hoping for some Ben Affleck Daredevil, but okay.
No.
I should get Bullseye going.
Bullseye.
Bullseye.
I want a bloody costume.
when he gets the paper clip and he's like, gets it in the guy's throat.
I hate that movie.
If someone calls you a bloody ass piece of trash, yeah, you're gonna take him out with the paper clip.
That's fair. Let's see. Oh, let me go ahead and pull this up.
So a little fun fact that speaking of D&D, not many people realize this, but a lot of the concept art, the original OG concept art for D&D, a lot of that came from artists who were at the Kubert School. So like guys like Stephen Bissett and I think Tim Truman, a lot of these guys helped create a lot of the character concept art for D&D.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I love that. That's pretty dope. What's happening, Nadia? She's shrimping in the chat. Good to see you. Yeah, I had no idea, man. That's actually pretty rad. I've never gotten into D&D, but
same here.
So, as I said, well, I'm trying to think of how to start this because it's kind of a winding road of things to get to. But Dungeons and Dragons basically released this most recent book, Dungeons and Dragons: The Making of Original D&D, 1970 to 1977. This is their 50th anniversary. So it says to commemorate our 50th anniversary with this homage to D&D's past. So a lot of fans have been buying this, really loving it. And then not so much, because there have been a lot of fans pushing back against this that are saying this is an abomination. This is going against everything that D&D created in the first place. This is almost $100 book. So imagine getting this and being displeased.
Okay, so step back, rewind it back. So why are they upset about this?
That's a good question, Drew, because the creators of this book, or the individuals who are writing this book, have been slandering and have been completely misrepresenting the original creators of D&D, calling them bigots and white supremacists and Nazis and all the classic things that you would tend to say. Now, the thing that's really disgusting about the people who wrote this book is that most of the creators of the original D&D are actually passed away. They are not here anymore. So they cannot defend themselves at this point. So one of the original creators who is still here actually wrote a beautiful but seething review of how bad this book is and how it completely misrepresents everything that these creators stood for. So let me read what the actual book says, and then I'll read his response. And I would love to get y'all's take on this and your reaction to this. So in this 50th anniversary book, it has quotes to say things like, with a few noted exceptions, every page reported in this book is from a first printing with no attempt to correct the original pagers. But then it goes on to say, some language in the first iteration of D&D presents a moral quandary. The documents reproduced in this book include many pages of charts and tables alongside lists of monsters, spells, magic items. But the game content also includes a virtual catalog of inclusive and derogatory language, or insensitive, of insensitive and derogatory language, words that are casually hurtful to anyone with a physical or mental disability. Some people have charitably ascribed this language to authors working from bad assumptions. It also goes on to say, the description of the Queen of Chaotic Dragons includes a dig at women's lib. The misogyny is revealed as a conscious choice. It also goes on to say, the cultural appropriation of original D&D ranges from the bewildering, like naming every 6th level cleric a llama, to the staggering gods, demigods, and heroes not reprinted in this book, blah, blah, blah. Despite these shortcomings, you guys see where this is going. And then it also says, note that the rules for fantastic medieval war games campaigns that make up the original D&D were created by and sold to a wargaming community that was almost exclusively white middle-class men. The rules compiled here offer a little by way of rules for other players. No, we can't have any minorities in our game. Nor indeed for anyone who wouldn't easily identify with a pulp sword and sorcery hero. Wizards of the Coast includes on legacy D&D content. These depictions were wrong then and are wrong today.
Wow.
And let me tell you, if you see orcs as black people, you're the problem.
Yeah.
Because that's the big thing with Wizards of the Coast right now, is that people are claiming that the trolls are Jewish people and the orcs are black people. And I'm going, I never saw that. Weird that you see that though. So sorry, Josh, you're going to say something.
There's so much. Real quick, the whole troll thing with Jewish people, that was something that's like historically accurate going back to the 40s. Like Germans, we won't say the N-word, would portray Jewish people as trolls. Like there's a precedent there, but it wasn't set by D&D. It's just fucking trolls. And if you're telling me that a black female that wants to play D&D because she's a nerd, and I say that with love because we're all nerds, can't possibly see herself in the role because, God forbid, a black female think that a sorcerer can be black and female, then again, that is on the person playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whenever I go to any type of like role-playing game, I imagine myself as that character, and I'm like, yo, I'm cool. And
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, think about like Warhammer, for example. I am not a 7 or 8 foot tall, cybernetically enhanced, monstrous, gigantic being with like lush, flowing golden hair and a sword the size of a normal man. Like, no, but I can try and envision myself during my during my tabletop games, because that's cool, right? And because I have the creative notion to think maybe I can be something that I'm not. Maybe in this tabletop game, I can be something really cool, or maybe I can be an alien species, or maybe I can be a robotic Necron, like Egyptian mummy thing, right? Like there's so many different aspects of these games that you can you don't have to see your exact self into it, but you can pretend, you can create, you can do all these imaginative things with the game.
It's
But
fucking
like you said,
escapism.
yeah,
Jesus.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, I don't think that white males are the problem here, because what I will say is anytime that I've been somewhere that's a nerd type experience, if someone comes in and they're genuinely curious or genuinely interested, they're usually welcomed with open arms.
Oh yeah.
Like you have your offsets, those that are like way far on the spectrum that are like that. Well, actually, you've got those, but they're the exception, they're not the rule. Usually, if you come in and you're interested in learning and playing this game and you want to play it, people are like, heck yeah, let's play it. Like I'll teach you, like I'll lend you some pieces, or you can use my dice or whatever it might be. They're usually looking for more people to play with them.
Yeah.
What I do find is that if people that aren't in this white male classification come in to play things, especially if they're another race, their own race will go, oh, that's white people shit, when they mention they're interested in it, or when they say they want to get stuff. So
yeah. Or they'll see the game for what it is, and they'll go, man, that's appropriation, or man, that's culturally insensitive, or man, this and that. And so they want to change what the game is inherently because they think that it's problematic. And so then it becomes not what the game was intended to be, or the lore is changed because of their own sensitivity, their own fragility, that they can't for some reason enjoy the game as it was intended to be played, because they have an issue with it, or they have a problem with it, and they want the developers to change the actual game for them, for their own sensibilities, which is just absolute nonsense. But I go to my game store. I go to Games Workshop on the weekends. Last weekend I was there. I played a game with a friend of mine, and everyone in that game store, autistic or not, which a lot of them are, to be fair, to play Warhammer. Even me, I got a little bit of tism, and everyone in that store looked completely different from the next guy.
oh yeah,
We had an African American dude from Britain, from the UK. We had two Asian gentlemen. We had myself, my friend who is like of Hispanic descent, like just across the board. Doesn't matter who you are. We're playing a game that we enjoy and are having fun. So that's the most disingenuous thing about this whole Dungeons and Dragons thing, is that they continue to try and blame white men when it's never the case. So
if I go into my comic shop on Friday nights and Saturdays, that's their like gaming days, where they're like, hey, come play games, or open late, yada yada yada. If I go in there, whether it's Warhammer or Pokemon, because they do Pokemon tournaments on Saturdays, or what is it, World of Warcraft? Is that the other card game that they have?
Magic,
that's
Magic
it.
Together.
Clearly, I don't play games, but the scope of people that are sitting or standing around the tabletops and playing, so vastly different. Like, and I'm not even talking about race. You've got people that like clearly just got off work at the hospital. They're still in their scrubs and they're playing. You've got like the goth kid that's over there with his like bleach black hair that's like hanging down and he's not really saying much. You got the total like comic book shop guy from The Simpsons sitting there. That's the bigger guy, the longer hair, and he's like, "Oh, this is excellent." Like the range. There's a guy that's in his 60s that is a licensed psychiatrist that goes and he plays what's yours, Warhammer. Like he's always around and it's just this mix. And then the owner's son plays. Like the breadth of the people that are there, it's vastly different. They're all so different from one another. So,
and you had mentioned something earlier that I also wanted to mention. Are there probably sects of places that are assholes and are super, dismissive, or don't like people in their hobby, or may push you away, or sure, right? But those people tend to be just overall jerks and a-holes, and they tend to be just bad people, or they tend to not be great people. It's not because of your race or your gender or your sexuality. It's because, at least from what I've experienced and from what I can see, a lot of the time there are small sects within these hobbies, within anything that we do, sports, hobbies, work, going to work. There's always going to be that one guy who's just an a-hole, who's just a jerk. And that's going to be with everything that we do. But I think a lot of people attribute it, oh, he's patriarchal, or he's a white supremacist, or he's bigoted, or whatever, when it's just, no, he's just an a-hole. He's just a jerk. So I do think we do have to recognize that, hey, some of those people are out there, but a lot of times they're just, maybe they're not the best at interacting. So to continue with the Dungeons and Dragons 50th anniversary thing that just completely like trashed the creators, this is Robert Kuntz. I want to say that correctly because I'm afraid that if I pronounce that any other way, that could be seen as something different. He is the designer of RPGs and board games, fiction and nonfiction author, D&D historian, game and play theorist. Robert J. Kuntz is one of the legendary founders of the D&D game and a first wave alumni of TSR, the company which in 1974 produced the world's first RPG game in his hometown of Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Rob is the last designer standing. He's it. Out of the original designers of the D&D game, he is the last one remaining.
Do we know?
I don't actually. Maybe it says in this article, but it goes on to say, from the games you are beginning, and he considers it a huge honor and duty to celebrate the people and sources that were instrumental in birthing and nurturing what he believes is a paradigm shift in game design and game theory. And then it kind of gives his background and what he's done. I don't know if we know how many individuals were there at the beginning to create it and how many have passed away, but he's really the only one who's sticking up for his legacy, for the legacy that he and his friends built. And I want to read this because this is just absolutely heartbreaking, but it is extremely imperative that we call this stuff out and say, one, how sad it is that he has to say this, but two, we have to call it out to just show, like, stick up for the things that you believe in and the things that you want to see preserved, or else we will not have a history of like what our games used to be or our hobbies used to be. So he says, I have to take a break from posting. This whole attack upon old TSR has really tripped my trigger. A 50th year celebration, and this is it. Of the original D&D authors and its supplements, Gary, Dave, Jim Ward, and Brian Bloom are gone, and that leaves me alone as the last man standing, the last author. It really is a burden watching this slanderous episode unfold. And it was done without one bat of the eyelash. A Wizards of the Coast fait accompli, done in such an assumptive manner, if they yield the holy articles on morality, which they enact with their reprehensible judge, jury, and executioner demeanor. Damn, this guy's a writer. Like, he beautifully writes this. But isn't that what we see all the time, whether it's comics, movies, tabletop games? He puts it perfectly. Such an assumptive manner, they are the ones who wield the holy articles on morality, which they enact with their reprehensible judge, jury, and executioner demeanor. It's cancel culture. If you don't agree, you're gone. They are probably wincing and wondering, us, the saints of truth, more like snakes. Anyone who would wait until the majority of authors who created the game were gone to stick it to them in this manner is a vile snake. And just to complete the deed, do it on the 50th. Show the admirers who's in charge. Show them who's in control of the IP. They fear those times they had no hand in creating, and they especially fear Gary Gygax. I don't know if that's another original creator. But yeah, I mean, these people are creatively bankrupt. They can't create anything of their own. And so they have to tear down what came before them and erase it to bring up their own ideological new stories. And that's what he's saying here when he says they are vile snakes. They had
Gary Gygax, he was one of the original creators. He died in 2008.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, there you His name sends shivers up and down their crooked spines. And if it wasn't enough to have hounded him in life, let's do a Houdini and trample on his grave. Disgusting slime. Man, he is going in on these people. But it's not just Gary or Dave and us others. It's also about wanting to wipe out that success and claim it as their own. And in order to do that, the fandom must be attacked as well as that history. Oh, man, he is preaching, dude. This should be posted on every hobby possible to show people this is how these activists infiltrate your hobby and completely change it into something different. All of it must be purged and never again allowed to exist. These people are the epitome of evil robber barons parading as the good guys. Sleight of hand bullshit from gold hobbled prestige. Oh my God, I can't even say this word. Can you say this? Prestigitators. Prestigitators, yeah. Who don't know fantasy or how to summon it. What they know is how to push down on indignation while counting their bottom lines, taking their vacations, and dreaming about their next cafe latte. Posers, one and all. We fought these establishment pukes back in the mid-70s as they gathered about a fledgling TSR to bring it down. Now it's the second round. Robilar may be a little aged, but he's not dead yet. You have made a permanent enemy of many, you stupid coastal wizards. Let's see how many real magic cards you hold besides illusory ones for this battle. Neither sought after nor wanted by me and others. It's just the beginning. You'll get sick of hearing my name soon enough. It's spelled Kuntz. Repost this as I'm taking a few days off. Peace to the brothers. Man, man, he gets a round of applause for that. So what are y'all's initial thoughts? I mean, this is, you can just feel the man's pain and anger and frustration from what he's experienced as one of the original lasting creators of something beautiful. Do you guys have anything that you took from this or anything that stuck out? Or stuck out?
It's great to see a founder who didn't bend the knee,
Yeah.
who isn't apologizing, because we've seen that a lot with a lot of people for like something they created back in the day, but he's not. And I guess I got to give him, a round of applause, and I'd buy the guy a drink if I could for sticking to his guns, on this. This is outstanding. I love hearing that. And I would just love to see the people who wrote this book, this travesty, like trying to defend, or retort what he just said. That's got to be interesting.
Yeah. No, that's such a good point. Because, they wouldn't have anything to say. Because that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to destroy a race and, quote unquote, improve what came before. And that's what all these cultural vandals do. With these
we're fixing history.
Yeah, right. Cultural vandals and tourists, like hobby tourists. They don't like the hobby. They've never belonged in the hobby. They don't want to be in the hobby, but because it may be popular, or because it may gain them clout, or because they think that they're doing justice, right? They're fighting the wrongdoings of oppressive nations from the past. Like they're doing some grand service. It's really sad to see that is the state of now our hobbies and our escapism. But yeah.
It really, and it sounds like Wizards of the Coast is really one of the big villains in this whole thing.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. They are a major perpetrator of this whole thing. So, Josh, anything that you took from this or anything that stood out?
I mean, I'm glad he's setting his ground. It's what Drew said. And it's just the stupidity of these people kind of coming in and completely missing the point of what D&D is supposed to be. And it's what Drew mentioned at the very beginning. It's escapism, I've never played D&D, but if I were going to play it, look, I'd want to go all in and really just try to have fun with it. So if I'm a wizard, guess what? I'm showing up to that tabletop wearing a cloak. If I'm a paladin, I'm bringing a toy sword. Like, just get ready. I'm going all in. And the whole thing is that, an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours or however long we decide to play this game. Guess what? I'm not Josh McDonald.
Right.
So whatever crazy shit that I'm dealing with, whatever, things that aren't the best in my life, I can just let it go. I don't have to worry about race. I don't have to worry about sexuality or orientation or freaking like I can just come have a good time and play the game.
Amen to that. And that's how it should be, right? But it feels like all too much now. It is now, even in Warhammer, we see this a ton in Warhammer. My army that I currently play are the Black Templars. They are religious, religious purgers of heretics. They are the righteous, justified, they're called angry boys. Like they are autistically very destructive towards anything that is not for the Emperor. And that's why I love them. It's so over the top and so crazy that they are these kind of religious warriors, these warrior monks that will go out in the name of the Emperor and slaughter everything in their path if it does not adhere to the Emperor's will. That's a fun setting for me. But what people now think of the Black Templars is, oh, they're racist, they're xenophobic, they are what's the other one? There was something else. They were like misogynist or something. But yeah, basically the Warhammer fandom has now said if you play Black Templars, you should have a red flag. That's a red flag because you're espousing these ideals, these like alt-right ideals. And so if that's the case, you may want to watch out for this guy at your hobby store because he plays Black Templars. And it's like, dude, are you kidding me? That's how we're like, because I'm having fun with an escapist army on the tabletop, I'm now labeled a white supremacist and an alt-right Nazi. It's like pathetic the lengths at which these tourists will go to, because it's just, you're like you said, Josh, you're just trying to have a fun time playing your game. So, well, that about does it for the Wizards of the Coast, like Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Like I said, I've had this on my desktop for a while now and just haven't gotten a chance to talk about it because I think this Robert guy is an absolute legend and a G for saying it how it is. Because we need more people like that. And speaking of more people like that, speaking of absolute G's who are saying it how it is, let's take a listen to the man himself. Actually, you know what? Before we take a listen to Jim Shooter, or Jim Shooter's interview, I guess I should say, let me play this clip of him. Here we go. So there may be a couple of people who don't know who Jim Shooter is. So I'm going to play this quick clip of him basically describing what he does at Marvel and some of his like top things that he has produced, some of the things that he's created and edited over the years. But the dude's an absolute legend. But let's go ahead and listen to what he has to say about a little bit of his career here.
I'm Jim Shooter. I've been in the comics business for 59 years. I think most people know me most as editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics for 10 years. I did some writing while I was editor-in-chief. I wrote Secret Wars. I did the Foundation stories for G.I. Joe and Transformers. I did a lot of other things. I wrote the Avengers. I wrote Daredevil. As a matter of fact, over the course of 10 years, I think I probably wrote at least one of each. So I was a writer too, but my main job was I ran the publishing. I had Stan Lee's old job. Yeah, I started when I was 13. I was working for DC Comics. I don't know if you want to see, but there's a picture of me right here. And this is the guy who hired me, Mort Weisinger. That's me. And I just turned 14 here. And
that's pretty dang cool. I love that he's like, yeah, I had Stan Lee's old job.
Yeah, and what's even funnier is that when he flew in, I don't think he mentions it here, but like they're like the Mort Weisinger, they're like, wait a minute, you're 14? What the hell? And they had no clue because like how the hell could someone 14 write this well? It's ridiculous.
Didn't he even like get his first writing gig because he was just writing in as a fan? And then commenting on things, and then they had gotten back. We're like, "Hey, write a script." So he wrote a script, and they never met the guy. Yeah, that's
Oh,
awesome.
I love it. And here he is again in another interview. I don't know if this was at the same convention or if it was something different, but this was posted on Twitter not too long ago. But this blew up. Initially, it was posted, and someone had said something to the effect of like Jim Shooter spouting lies. But then he took it down later because all the comments were like, "No, dude, he's spitting straight truth. Like this guy is on fire. Like he needs to talk more." And so this guy, Brett R. Smith, posted this saying, "Big Jim Shooter speaking truth to power," which got a ton of traction. And it got a lot of people like commenting and reposting it. So let's hear what Jim Shooter has to say in 2024.
So, how do you feel about the state of the comic book industry today?
I think they forgot what business they're in. I think that, hey guys, it's supposed to be entertainment. But a lot of it comes out like propaganda. And I don't care if you agree with every word they say. Nobody wants to read propaganda. It's just, it's boring. And an awful lot of retcon going on. And I mean, like I said, I respect the intent of the creators. And Jack Kirby never intended for Thor to be a girl. He never intended. Joe Simon, Jack Kirby, and Stan Lee are spinning in their graves because they turned Captain America into like a Hydra guy or a Nazi or something. He always was. Well, that's just wrong. I mean, don't do that.
Stay true to the character.
Yeah,
stay true to the character.
Damn. Just like
dropping Chad bombs. I love it. Oh man.
Absolutely dropping truth bombs, man. It's so good. So yeah, Drew, when you first saw this, what was your initial reaction?
I spit up when I was drinking. I loved it. I mean, it was everything he just said is 100% true, and not 90%, not 99%, 100% true. My only wish is that he had said this back in like 2017. Hey, if he had said this back in 2017, holy shit! You want to talk about a Twitter shit fire, whatever. It would have been nuts. 5-alarm shit fire on Twitter. That's what it would have been.
But, well, I mean, a shit fart would have been bad too, because it's like one of the farts that you're like, oh no,
he sharted.
Yeah.
But no, it's fantastic, and I really hope he can stick around a lot longer. Now, granted, he's an older guy. Just we need an elder statesman like him around to really be speaking these truth bombs. And I showed you guys that posting. He had a little health scare this past weekend. So I'm hoping he can really pull through, and because we need this guy, and he honestly needs to be working again. He needs to be working with someone.
Absolutely, man. Josh, did you have anything, or did you take away anything from this when you first saw it?
I mean, it's something like, look, this isn't anything new that we've been saying. I feel like for years, even pre-COVID, we like, if you go back and watch some of Wes's Thinking Critical comics aficionados, we always talk about the importance of respecting your characters and having a reverence for their history. And what these new writers today don't understand is you're dealing with a brand. And when I was in writing rooms, and especially if we were dealing with any type of products that were part of something that was larger than us, that had a history or whatever, there was always a conversation of like, you are very lucky that you get to quote unquote play with these toys. And yes, you can play with them, and we want you to do what you want to do. We want you to have some creative freedoms, but we need you to understand that you are not going to be in this role forever. And this toy will still be here. And we need this toy to be in a good enough shape that whoever comes after you can still play with this toy. And I get that that's like a childish or juvenile description, but it's very accurate of what it is. Like, your time with this character or this brand is very limited. Yeah. And it's going to need to continue on. We've got Batman and Superman with histories going back 80 plus years.
Yeah.
And it's sad that we're watching today, these characters are just completely getting destroyed. And it's been so consistent and ongoing at this point that we might actually get to a point where they're ruined.
Yeah, it's like a lot of these creators back in the day, they were told you can bend these characters, you can bend them, because they can bend right back by the end of their stories, better than where they were. But as soon as you break it, you've broken it, and it's hard to come back from that. And a lot of these creators, such as case in point, Tom King, he broke Batman, and Chip Zdarsky right now, I guess he's trying to glue those pieces back together, and it's looking pretty shitty. But that's what happens.
Well, look at Star Wars, like the brand of Star Wars. When you think of the brand of Star Wars, you think of like an impenetrable adamantium shield, like that. You never, and no one ever in their lifetime thought that Star Wars would be a low tier brand or like a joke brand or something that would be made fun of. Like, I think for the most part, everyone was like, yeah, Star Wars is like it's something that will last forever. It's something that's bigger than the brand itself. It's like a lifestyle. But now the brand is actually, I would argue, it's damaged. And to your point, Josh, I wonder if these icons, which are Superman and Batman, they're not just heroes, they're not just superheroes, they're not just comic book characters, they're not just art pieces. They are brands, they are icons, they are bigger than their stories. They are like complete ideals, like of hope and optimism and superheroics and sacrifice and courage, nobility. Those things that these characters stand for might be completely broken and damaged at this point, or a little bit down the line, because of how much these characters have been damaged. And I don't know if you go back, right? Like once you've done that to the brand, can you build it back up from what it may have once been? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I can't remember if this was a Grant Morrison thing or a Jeff Johns thing, but there was a point in time where someone was saying like, oh, at some point you have to change the characters, otherwise the stories are going to get old. And their response back was, no, that is incorrect. Once you change the characters, you're losing your audience. You can have a character and they can, for the most part, remain unchanged. Like some things you're going to have to adapt. Like Batman in the 1940s isn't going to have the same technology that he's got in 2024. Like those are some changes, yes, you make. However, the core of who the character is, the decisions they make, the why they make the decisions that they make, that should not change unless you've had a compounding story that warrants the growth or the change of the character. But the comment was actually about how the way you keep it fresh is you take that character and you make them unchanged in this world that has changed. So the Captain America that you're seeing in the 1960s operating in a world that's in the 1960s is vastly different than a Captain America operating in a world that is the 1980s, or the late 1980s, where it's a lot darker, a lot more grim. They're saying he's not going to fit as much, but you can actually write a compelling story with that. Take that into the new modern age technology, this lack of religion. It's kind of like what we saw on the Captain America films. Like, this character that stands so much of the American core of what America is supposed to be, you now have that character in a world that's rejecting all of those things. How does he fit in? He stands strong in his identity. And people, look at how people treated these Captain America films. They gravitated towards them. They thought the character representation was good. That's what they wanted to see. They're asking for more of that. And instead, what we have these companies doing, whether it's films or television or comic books, is they're going, well, to fit with the modern times, we need to make this character, A, B, C, and D. And it just completely breaks what was there and what was established previously.
And it completely feels like it's a creatively bankrupt decision when you do have that into the character, or when you do check those boxes for a character, because then at that point it doesn't actually feel like you're doing it for a creative purpose or for a story or for like a larger plot line or something that is going to impact the story. You're now doing it for your own ideology, or maybe your own beliefs, or your own check boxes, or for the company's check boxes or whatever. And it feels really disingenuous, and it doesn't feel creative at all. It feels very corporate and hollow and like shelled out and just completely devoid of anything that what the character first stood for. I think there's a great line in the Avengers film, well, a couple of them, but one that Cap says is he's talking to Agent Coulson, and he says, I don't know, that seems a bit old-fashioned, right? And Agent Coulson says, we could probably use a little old-fashioned right now. And then there's another one where he says, "Oh, you can't fight him. He's a literal god." And he goes, "My
There's
God
only
doesn't dress
one.
like that." Or there's only
Yeah,
one
there's
God.
only one
He doesn't
God,
look-
damn it. He doesn't
yeah.
dress like that. Or yes,
Yes, yeah. And those are classic Cap things to say,
Yeah.
right? He comes from a era that was very religious, very conservative. So these are things that he probably speaks on. So I I think that's a great point that you had mentioned, Josh. Um, to the propaganda point that he mentioned earlier, I think it kind of falls in line with the character thing.
Yeah.
No one wants to read propaganda. And when you are posed with a question like classic Star Trek, or when you're posed with a question in these fantastic Uncanny X-Men, Chris Claremont stories, you are posed with both sides of an argument or both sides of a situation or something in culture or society, and you as the reader have to now think and use your creativity and your critical thinking to go, what would I do in this situation, or what is the right thing here? And that's how you form your beliefs. That's how you form your ideology and your morality and things like that, is because we read stories and we think about what would we do in that situation. But now these creators are going, you will think this way, you will believe this thing, and if you don't, you're a white supremacist, a Nazi, a bigot,
Yeah.
an oppressor, a patriarch, all this stuff, right? And it completely demoralizes readers because they don't want to be told how to think or why they are bad because they think a certain way, when they're reading their escapist content or their escapist material. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know
And
if you guys have
look,
anything else to add.
no, what I'll say is, and saying these things doesn't mean that you can't have diverse characters. You can absolutely have diverse characters. And I know we give this writer a lot of flack, but I'm gonna kind of praise her to a degree because I feel like she was on the forefront of trying to have diversity without making it feel like it was forced or shoehorned. But like
Oh.
going all the way back to like the early 2010s, Gail Simone was introducing trans characters and disabled characters, whatever, but they weren't the main character. They played a role. She didn't overdo it. You weren't getting preached to. The
Yeah.
character was just there.
Yeah.
And in some of these cases, like I look back to, and I don't think this run was good, but she created a character called Porcelain for Secret Six, and it was actually a really, really cool character that could change the density. And again, similar to other characters and other powers, but like she could create her skin to become porcelain, and like utilize that and have more mass there, and just the density. And but I don't know, like you can have stuff, but the way we go about it, when you get the Jace Foxes of the world that's becoming Batman, and you have the whole conversation about Black Batman, and now you're turning Bruce Wayne Batman into someone that doesn't think low level crime is worth his time, and if people are looting places, like what are we coming to? Like the whole point of why Batman exists, you're just saying doesn't matter now. Like it's just nonsense.
I think it's just not just that, it's just the writers now who have a warped perspective on what crime is and justifying crime, justifying people committing crime, petty crime, saying like it's all right, it's okay.
Morality in general.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Not just crime, but just
that KFC. It wasn't on fire because of arson. It was on fire because we had peaceful protests.
Yeah.
Mostly super peaceful.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Summer of love, baby. Summer of love.
Yeah, summer of love. It's all love. All right. Well, I think the last thing I'll probably say about this is I hope, like to your point, Drew, I hope that Jim Shooter sticks around because I do think that he needs to be a voice of reason in this industry. I think if you were to say this, 10 years ago, we really could have used it. But he would have stirred up, like you said, just an immense amount of hate. He would have been laughed out of the industry. He would have been fired. But now, I don't want to say it's safe to say it, but it's a little bit more acceptable now to say.
More acceptable. And it's
it's
kind of late, and it's just like, oh man, this would have had such a stronger punch 5 years ago. But yeah.
Well, because now that everything's burned to the ground, now that comics aren't really doing great, the characters are shells of what they used to be. The fans have moved on to manga, or they've moved on to movies, or tabletop gaming, or they moved on to back issues, like whatever it is, the fans have moved somewhere else. And we're just not seeing the same interaction and the same excitement that we are with normal, regular weekly floppies and monthly floppies. So it is, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
No, I was gonna say, it's not even just the fans, the talent have moved
Yeah,
on.
well,
to
yeah,
something
it's
else,
actually, yeah, that's true.
So
because of all that, though, if you're coming out and saying this, great, I love that, but it may be a little bit too late. We've already lost a generation. We've already lost a generation of fans and creators, like you said, Josh. So, though I really love that Jim Shooter said this, and I think that he is an incredible voice in the industry, and I hope that he speaks out more about this. We may be a little bit too late on this one, but I don't know. You guys got anything else about this one?
Yeah, I don't think it's too late. I mean, the pendulum's gonna swing its swing. But I think it was one of those weird situations where, if you had this opinion and you spoke it, you stood up and you got on your soapbox to verbalize how you felt or what you thought or what you were witnessing. Companies, along with the loud Twitter psychos, companies would back the minority, the psycho people that are yelling from the rooftop, and go like, oh yeah, no, you can't do this, you shouldn't do this. And then, year after year after year of losing money, now you're seeing companies, when these loud psychos are going, oh, you can't do that, you can't say that, companies are just going, they're
like,
pretending like they didn't see it, they don't know what's going on, who said what, I wasn't aware of that, like, are we sure? And that's letting people speak freely, but they're also kind of quietly, as we've seen with Marvel and the MCU, like Kevin Feige's quietly firing all these activist people and putting legitimately talented people in these roles where they should have been to begin with. And that's not to say that these activist people shouldn't be in these roles, but we took people with like barely any experience, barely any history, and that were making their mission in life overtake what their job is supposed to be. Instead of just letting them come in and kind of get tutored under these people that know what they're doing and understand what they're doing, they just like, here's the keys to the kingdom, have fun. Try not to shit and piss on everything, I guess. Like,
brutal. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Josh. So, the pendulum, I hope, swings back. I don't want it to swing so far the other direction to where it's just, it's completely gate kept from people with different thoughts or ideas on different things. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that, because right now it's being gate kept from people with different thoughts and ideas, but just on a different side, right? So I just don't want propaganda, and I want our heroes to go back to what they stood for, and I think that hopefully when that pendulum swings back, that's ultimately what we see, and not so much like a revenge story where it's like, now that we're in charge, right? But even still, I don't even think that, because it's going to have to start from the top. And if it doesn't get wiped out from the top, then we'll never see change in the industry. But well, let's go ahead and get some of these super chats and we'll call it a night. Comics Exposed for $2. He says, Jim Shooter is based. What's up, guys? Dude, thank you so much for the $2 hairs. I appreciate it, brother. He is extremely based. And I love what he had to say here. And this was great. I also want to shout out one of the oldest, I think maybe one of the first members I ever had, and a good friend of mine, Man of War 665, neighbor of the beast. What's happening, brother? Good to see you. He says, weasels of the cuck stand on the shoulders of giants and proclaim, look at how long our legs are. Exactly, dude.
I love Man of
it's
War.
pathetic. But yeah, thank you, Man of War. Love you, brother. Hope you're doing well. We've also got DJ Smith for another $2. He says, invite Jim Shooter on the show sometime.
I mean, he's cool. As Drew said, he's ill right now and he's not doing any appearances, but if he gets better, which I hope he does, then yeah, maybe that's something to pursue.
Absolutely. I'd love to pick his brain just about his career and all that good stuff.
I mean, what a guest to have on comic shop conversation.
Could you imagine, right? Whew.
Yeah, I love going to seeing him at shows. He's got a huge portfolio of just all of his like old letters and stuff he's gotten from like he sent out to like the Stan Lee, Jim, or various members of the Marvel staff. Just all these cool letters and just it's like, oh my god, wow, it's pretty cool that he does all these conversations about loved your work, love this, just it's fun stuff that he has with them.
That's really cool. Well, Comics Exposed and DJ Smith, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for being such great supporters of the show and for contributing to what we do here, man. I really appreciate it, guys. For you, I'll give you one of my all-time favorites.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Oh, love it. It is such a missed opportunity that we will never actually get to see that film.
I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Ryan Reynolds is pushing for it.
Josh, you think it's going to ever happen? Think we'll ever see Wesley Snipes back as Blade? It's not going to happen.
No, they're not going to do that while they're trying to build their own Blade up.
No, won't happen. Well, I think that's it, guys. Thank you all for hanging out tonight. I know I said we'll keep it to an hour, so I apologize that we went over, but I added that D23 thing last minute just because I wanted to go over the abomination of sequels, prequels, remakes, and revamps on display there. But you guys got anything else before we take off for the evening?
I mean, just come see Pop Culture and see what we've got going. Yeah, come. What? Huh? What? Oh God. Anyways, come check out the channel. We're doing some really cool stuff. We're actually filming another episode of Marvelous Monday tomorrow. So we've got a couple episodes in the pipeline, and I'm really excited to just get them out. This week, I will be doing a lot of work on getting graphic content episodes prepared and set up. I've got some writing jobs I need to do for certain things, so that'll be getting knocked out. And I think we got some fun stuff. I need to partner with Max and see if we have time to film our first episode of Cherry Popped this week as well. So
I'm watching Angel tonight, and I watched episodes 1 through 3, and then 7, which is Angel, and then I'll watch the finale. And then we'll see what date we can get in this week. And then when you say graphic content, my mind goes to I start doing this because that means I get to read Superman for all seasons.
Oh no,
again.
that's going to be different than graphic content's just going to be me reviewing graphic novels.
That's right.
That'll be our PBC book club.
Okay,
but that'll be Superman for all seasons, and that will be launching in September. So we got to get caught back up with top 5 comics. Yeah, we just did top 5 comics for June. I know we're late. Just don't give me shit about it. So Drew and I just did that this past Tuesday. So
no, it was good. I like those a lot.
Yeah, streaming wise, it's going to be a busy week this week. So we're recording Marvelous Monday tomorrow. We're doing Culture Popped Tuesday. Wednesday, I'm on with Zach's. Thursday, if we can record, we're going to record. If not, then I'm going to be on Romans. Friday, I will at least be making a brief appearance on Comic Shop Conversations because I've got some. I'm inserting myself in show and tell. And
good as you should.
So
I forgot. Yeah, depending on my schedule, Friday I may or may not pop in later in the show. How tired I am because I'll be at Chicago Fan Expo. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah. Maybe Josh will take your place. No, I'm kidding.
So yeah, I can just take your place.
Yeah.
I will read the comics of this week.
Oh
wow.
Whoa.
All right. Again, I'm excited. No, I'm kidding. Well, yeah, Drew, you'll have to send us some pictures so we can share it on Friday.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to.
From the convention. That'll be cool.
Yes, it should be a quick little 3.5-hour drive up, and should be a nice, easy setup. It's just pop-up banners and got the boxes of comics. So, yeah, it should be relatively painless and peaceful.
Good deal, man. I'm excited. Well, yeah. So Drew has got the convention this weekend. Josh has got a ton of upcoming projects that you guys are not going to want to miss. Both of their links are in the description below, so you guys can go check out Pop by Culture and Drew and his comics. He's got Unholy Nightmare. He's got what's the Head Shop, and then the Unholy Nightmare preview edition with Damsel that they're doing the connecting covers for. So got all those links down there. So as we leave, I will I'll share this since we're talking about coming to go see Pop by Culture.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Oh.
Oh. I love the last part. He like, oh, I'm gonna come. Too funny.
Geez.
Andrew, yes, we actually just talked about the comic book propaganda. We spoke on what Jim Shooter actually had to say about it. So if you go back a little ways in the stream, we started right around like an hour 30. An hour 15. We started there, and you can probably watch it at that point in time. But that is it for this evening. Thank you all for your constant support. And seriously, to all the members, I greatly appreciate you guys. And thank you to Dylan Lindsay, Comics Exposed, and DJ Smith for their super chats this evening. It goes right back into the show, and we always really appreciate y'all supporting. So thanks for a great evening. We'll see you guys this coming week. We'll see you on Pop by Culture tomorrow or Tuesday night. And from there, we'll have plenty of other great shows for you guys coming up in the next week. And we will talk to y'all later. What do we want for our outro? I'll just do the regular. We'll just do the regular one. We won't nothing spicy. We'll just do the regular. All right. See you guys.